An I-Team exclusive tonight with a former Lindenwood wrestler sent to prison for 30 years after being convicted of recklessly spreading HIV.
27-year-old Michael Johnson was paroled just days ago after an appeal and plea deal. Now in a nationwide TV exclusive, Johnson breaks his silence to the I-Team's PJ Randhawa. PJ.
Well, Mike and Ann, 26 states have laws that criminalize HIV exposure. Missouri's law is one of the harshest. It kept Michael Johnson behind bars for 6 years. Now he's aiming to dismantle it. Wrestling was Michael Johnson's life.
I've been waiting for this ever since middle school.
A standout on the mat, he thought it was his future. Then 5 years later, he found himself in the match of his life, accused of recklessly spreading HIV.
I would never think of doing that to anyone.
Yet in 2015, a jury believed otherwise, sentencing him to 30 years in prison. You're serving more time than a lot of murderers.
Yes, that is true, because there were guys that was getting 15 years. I knew that I needed to fight for my truth and get my story out there.
His story starts in January 2013. Johnson was diagnosed with HIV while on a wrestling scholarship at Lindenwood University. The openly gay student continued to date men he met on dating apps. He says he was always honest about his status with his partners.
In the state of Missouri, if I couldn't prove that I told the person, then a jury would decide and prove whether or not I did it.
Later that year, one of his partners would test positive for HIV. Soon, Johnson was charged with infecting 2 men and exposing 4 others to the virus. It sounds like they thought you had weaponized your HIV status and used it to harm other people.
Yes, that is correct. They saw what the media initially wanted to put out was that it was a scary, big, black, gay man wrestler that was out to cause harm.
Not everyone believed that. In 2016, an appellate court overturned Johnson's conviction, finding that he didn't get a fair defense. Johnson ended up accepting a plea deal in exchange for a 10-year sentence.
I didn't want to take it at first. Under those laws, it felt that they could have gave me anything that they wanted.
The I-Team studied Missouri law. Right now, someone who is HIV positive could be convicted of a felony if they expose a partner to the disease without their knowledge. They face a minimum of 10 years in prison if they infect a partner with HIV, and at least 5 years for just exposing them to the virus that can cause AIDS.
It's unbelievable.
Representative Tracy McCreary is just one of 2 Missouri lawmakers working to change the HIV transmission law that put Johnson behind bars.
A lot of the laws reflect our ignorance of the disease. In Missouri law, the only disease that's called out specifically is HIV. Just because of that, there's a lot of stigma.
Both McCreary and Johnson say the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Infectious disease experts say medical advancements have made it easier than ever to treat and prevent HIV.
You can take single tablet, 1 pill once a day, suppress the virus, normal life expectancy, no transmission.
McCreary and Johnson have an unlikely ally in this fight. The St. Charles County prosecutor who helped put him behind bars, Tim Lomar.
You fast forward to today, and I think we have an opportunity maybe to take a look at those laws and understand how they are outdated and how they are antiquated. And I think it's time for a change.
Now a free man, Johnson says he wants to use his story to help repeal HIV transmission laws, not just in Missouri, but around the country. What do you say to people who will say you infected at least one person with HIV, and they may question whether you might do that again?
That's something that I would never do. The laws are not stopping it. They're spreading the fear. And people are afraid to come forward. I'm trying to be the change in that.
That bill to change Missouri's HIV law didn't pass this session, but there are plans to refile next year. Now, when we first met with Michael in Indianapolis, he told me his goal was to find a job. After that, he plans to finish his bachelor's degree and maybe one day become a wrestling coach. Back to you.
PJ, thank you. Have something you want the I-Team to look into? Email PJ directly at prandhawa@kstk.com. You can also call their tip line, 314-444-5231.